Same town, same pool, same brutal 2 to 3 hour practices with a legendary coach who could swim 100 yards without ever taking a breath. I grew up with today's guest and we swam together in high school. And if you know anything about swimming, you know the butterfly sucks. It's tough. But today's guest, and he'll actually tell you this on today's show, the first time he raced the butterfly, the 100 fly, he got out of the pool and passed out. So he swam it anyway. Because the hard thing everyone else avoids is exactly where the advantage usually hides. That same friend went on to spend a decade at HubSpot. The company, if you don't know, is at the center of inbound marketing, rising from VP of marketing to chief customer officer. He now owns the customer relationship for a company with 300,000 customers. And the lesson from the pool still applies today. So on today's show, we cover why brand compounds like hard work, why being opinionated is the only way to break through when AI floods every single social channel, why he replies in public when a customer is angry, and why the most effective move in marketing right now is the one almost nobody is making. This is Return on Reputation, episode 18, with my good friend, Jon Dick, or as I call him, Johnny D, Chief Customer Officer at HubSpot. I hope you enjoy. A little technical difficulty. All right, Jon, thank you so much for being here.
He's got the jitters, everybody. He's got the jitters.
Woof, we got to wiggle it out.
Shaking it off. We had some technical difficulties. We're back. Good.
Jon, thanks for being here, man. It's awesome to see you again.
Great to see you. How are you?
I'm great. Life is great. can't complain. No complaints.
So happy to hear it.
I want to start. We both grew up in the same town and on the same swim team. And I was thinking about how we start this. I know it's maybe a weird way to start a podcast, but we're both swimming 2 to 3 hours a day. And the amazing coach, John Lonergan, who's a legend himself.
He was a legend. This guy was like, first of all, everybody, this guy was like ancient. As old as this guy was swimming before the continents separated. He used to swim around Pangea. That's how old. He was ancient. But my God, was he a good swim coach? Very simple focus, hard work, keeping your butt up. That was pretty much it.
I think even at one point it was like he would go around just like, meh, like he would, and he would tell you to hold your breath. Like he would brag to us that he could do what we were doing without breathing.
Yeah. He could. He actually could hold his breath for an exceptionally long time.
Yes.
Yeah. It was very, very impressive. Yeah.
Like 100 yards holding his breath.
Yeah.
Legendary. But I thought, what did that teach you about doing the work no one sees? Which I think it will lead to what we're going to get to in the show today. Because
I mean, I feel swimming is a sport that some people have extraordinary natural talent for, but most high school swimmers, I think, are actually just people who are willing to put the work in. Certainly at Westwood High at the time. And I actually think the thing that I took away more than just hard work was actually about doing things that other people find too hard. So for instance, I ended up I swim in the butterfly and the individual medley, both of which involved the butterfly stroke. And I wasn't naturally good at the butterfly. But what I noticed was that nobody wanted to swim the butterfly.
That's true. It's like the worst stroke.
Oh my God, it's terrible. First time I ever swam the 100 fly, I literally got out of the pool and passed out. I just collapsed unconscious. So really, really hard. But what I learned was that like doing the hard work that other people don't want to do in particular really matters and gives you an opportunity and an advantage. So I would say hard work is in my DNA. It's obviously, I grew up in New England, a little bit Puritan, like that hard work ethic, but also I think having an angle on the places that you can apply that hard work that maybe others aren't willing to work as hard and how that can give you an opportunity.
That's such a great takeaway there, because it's a lot of people see the surface level success in our society today, like these overnight successes and these amazing IPOs and companies and startups and entrepreneurship. And there's no one talks about the overnight success that took 20 years. And the work no one wants to do. And for our audience, I think there's a lot of people who are in the top executive seat. They're doing a ton of work behind it, but they don't talk about that piece. And no one sees that part of their life. And I wanted to start with this. I'm glad you said this, because I think inbound as a concept
Yep.
requires extraordinary amount of work, and it's a delayed satisfaction because you have to have incredible patience for it to really reap rewards. And a lot of people quit before they see that. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
this game isn't working.
Yeah. The thing about inbound that was always awesome, and I think is still awesome, even though the tactics for inbound have changed a lot. You know, I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
when Brian and Dharmesh, the founders of HubSpot, coined the notion of inbound marketing, was very much about attracting leads from Google search. People
Mhm.
are out looking for
Right.
your category or your product, and how do you actually insert your company into that in a way that's really natural? You attract those people to you. And so the first set of tactics were really just about SEO and content
Sure.
marketing. That is obviously has evolved a ton over time.
So much.
But what I would say is that the thing that is great about inbound is that it compounds. And I think that's the
Mhm.
thing about hard work. If you focus on the right set of things, is that it compounds over time and it starts to become an advantage over time.
Yeah,
And I think that's the thing that is particularly cool about inbound.
for sure. Yeah, that's it. That's the podcast. We can end
Yeah.
there.
All right, everybody. I'll see you in the pool, Justin.
No, it's so true. It is compounding, and it requires an incredible hard work, consistency, time and time again, showing up publicly,
Yeah.
whether it's your personal brand or the company's brand. And I think it also involves adding a lot of value. You've said inbound is really about adding value. At least I think that's.
I think that was like the philosophy of inbound.
Okay.
I think Brian coined the phrase, but
Okay. Yeah.
add value before you extract value is what you want to do as a business. And I think that was the thing about content marketing was like, and
Mhm.
inbound was just like, oh, what's so cool? The value that you can add is education, which is I'm looking to buy a new car. I really don't know what to buy, right? And so,
Yeah.
if you're a car dealership, you can educate people on the right car to buy. And if you educate people on the right car to buy, then that gives them a bunch of value so they can make a smart decision and they end up being a happier customer. And so I
Yeah.
think, but the notion of adding value has changed a lot. When in software anyway, I think it really went from initially it was just about free content. And
Mhm.
then it really evolved to free software. And there was a whole wave of
Freemium.
freemium software. And by the way, like HubSpot still has both of those that we do. We offer tons of free educational content. We have
Mhm.
hundreds of thousands of people sign up to learn from HubSpot, which like is something I think we're very proud of, and we hope people get a lot of value from, and that raises our brand. And same with free software. So many people sign up for HubSpot's free CRM, and we love that we can offer that for free as a way that, in particular, very small business owners can get started and get a lot of value before paying. And we hope in both of those cases that if they get a ton of value, that is going to lead to their business growing. And if their business grows, that we can be a partner to them in that growth. And that's the point that in theory, you can start extracting value and say, like, this has become a core tool that's part of your growth story. It's very obvious how if you spend more on it, you will get even more value back. And I think that is the idea of add value before extract value in practice.
Do you think that's changing now? You've said it's changed. A lot of things have changed, and you've implied what has with AI happening today. Let's just jump right into it. How are you seeing this impact the space today? And that whole premise is that lead with value and build trust. Does that still exist in today's world?
More than ever.
Okay.
I mean, like content, in theory, content is free and infinite, and code is free and infinite.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not free because you got to pay tokens, and it turns out tokens are really expensive, by the way, everybody. But in theory, there's infinite content to be created, and code is infinite and disposable and customizable. And so both of those add value moats aren't enough on their own anymore. And I would say that the thing that I think stands out increasingly is a couple things. I think one is authenticity and actual human insight. It's not surprising if the whole world floods the internet and social media with a set of AI generated slop. People are really, really going to value human created, authentic content and point of view. And so I think that is one thing that stands out. I think another is just being strongly opinionated, and that can come in a lot of ways. But in particular, in B2B, it's being really strongly opinionated about the space that you are in, whether it's your industry, whether it is your domain, and really having a strong point of view on what works and what doesn't work. And importantly, being able to actually engage in conversations on that. especially as the world is changing. The ability to, I think, engage on that with a strong opinion matters.
Mhm.
And I think the third is really tied to probably community and the ability to have a group of people. And I think those first two actually are what create community, right?
Right.
You know, in
Yeah,
theory,
if
if
you
you're
do
getting
it
free
well.
content, free code, and then you bring in your authenticity, your opinionated point of view, you can build real community around those things. And that community, I think, can propel you better than almost anything else right now.
I tell people this all the time is I can't agree with you more. A lot of people are afraid to do that because they think that they'll alienate their market. Like they'll say, if I have a too strong of opinion one way or the other, they're like, we won't be able to sell to anybody because
Yeah.
they want to sell to everybody. But
Yeah.
I think if you go down that slippery slope
Well,
of
I would just argue you can sell to everybody if you're opinionated on a
one,
domain and not an industry.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
different
yeah,
ways to go about it.
yeah,
And so I think it's just what to be opinionated on. But if you are unopinionated, you literally you can't break through today
right.
because it's just impossible. You
No,
know,
I
to me,
agree.
yeah.
And I think that's what I wanted to highlight what you just said, because for everyone listening who's afraid to take a stance because of we might alienate some people, on the other side of that coin, you're going to attract just as many, and
Yeah.
you're
Well,
going to build that strong community.
I think the alienation, people are afraid of alienation because what we all have seen for a while on social media is that opinionated point of view being expressed related to personal or political beliefs. And I do think it's a little different in
It's true.
business.
That's true.
And I know that's why people get nervous about it. But in business, I think it's important to have a strong point of view and being willing to advocate for it. And by the way, it is two other comments on why I think it is totally okay to do it. Number one, if the world convinces you you are wrong, there is nothing better than someone being able to go and say, actually, like I've changed my point of view. I've learned a lot and I've
Yeah.
changed. I actually think that's one of the most authentic things you could do. Number two, you know, things are moving so fast, nobody remembers anything anybody says. So just put it out there. Like whatever, 2 weeks from now, no one will remember. Like it's unbelievable how fast things are moving. Like nobody cares.
That is such a great point, because so many people are afraid to put out content on their own because of for
Yeah.
fear of being judged by their neighbors, their friends, their family, or first, I think less so strangers for some reason. But no, you're right. No one cares. No one cares at all. And they barely remember what happened politically last week.
Yeah, especially in what we're talking about, which is
Yeah.
how to sell your business to other people. That's a place.
Yeah.
Obviously, like politics and personal beliefs are very divisive and get people extraordinarily upset and emotional, which drives the sort of engagement I personally don't think is the most like healthy or great. And you know, that's not the stuff that I veer towards. But I think in the world of business, for HubSpot, we want to be one of the most opinionated brands in the world about how to grow better. And through that regard, I think we are really comfortable and willing to take stands about what good looks like in go-to-market and what isn't good in go-to-market. If you work and have a business for a particular industry, having a strong point of view about the best way for that industry to function is a great way to stand out right now.
Yeah.
And some people may not agree with you, and that's probably a sign that what you're doing is working. If everybody agrees with you on everything, it's probably not differentiated enough. And you have to accept that some people are going to agree, and those are the early adopters of your idea. And then over time, if you have enough conviction and build for that future and get enough people to believe what you believe, then everybody will believe it. So when HubSpot started talking about inbound marketing, I wasn't at the company at the time, but of course I watched the trajectory and have learned a lot from the lessons of the people who helped shape it early. Most of the world didn't believe in inbound marketing.
Which is wild to think.
Which is wild now.
Yeah.
You're like, of course you do like SEO. What are you talking about? Like one of the biggest distribution channels in the world.
Right. It's a basic need right now. What's the hot take right now? Where is your opinionated stance today with an AI? I know your LinkedIn banner says real AI.
Yeah. I hate AI for AI's sake.
Okay.
I just don't have time for it. And so much it's so hard to grow right now.
Yeah.
I really care about stuff that works. And from talking to our 300,000 customers, that is 99.9% share exactly the same view as me, which is I don't want hype. I want real things that help me grow my business better.
Yep.
And I think that is actually a core part of what our hot take is right now, which is a couple things that are a little different maybe from what the mainstream is. I think one thing, we really believe deeply in human beings. I really believe deeply in the idea that AI will be great for people, and that the real unlock for AI is what we would call like human authenticity plus AI efficiency. That's the unlock.
Okay.
You take the thing that you were really passionate about, or you have a great idea about, or your unique insight or idea or opinion. And of course, you want to use AI to scale that faster. It's amazing how fast you can go now to develop ideas, test ideas, get them into the market, like launch campaigns, create content. Like, why wouldn't you want to go faster on that stuff? But that human authenticity is really the thing that really drives that. Yeah, it drives that kernel. So that's obviously something that we really, really believe deeply.
Do you think people are, in my experience so far, I feel like AI can do all that very fast, but I think if you don't start with the right foundation, it's going to move in the wrong direction, and then you're doing more work. So I think just
like AI is really good at outputs, really bad at outcomes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well
And
said.
the reason it's bad at outcomes is it doesn't start with the right foundation. And that foundation can be dependent. If you want to build an agentic go-to-market, you're like, I want a go-to-market where agents are part of every step of the customer journey. Like, you need a shared context foundation for those agents to work off of,
Right.
so that they know everything about your customer, know everything about your business, know everything about your pricing, know everything about how the product works, or it's going to be a discombobulated mess. And it's the same with creating content. If you're going to create content and you want to use AI to scale it, like, you have to be great at expressing what you believe.
Yes.
And helping it understand what your voice is and what you care about and what you think you want to see outputs like. And if you don't do that stuff, it's just an output. And it doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, the prompt and post, it doesn't work at all. It's so I think brand has become more important than ever before with that human touch. And I think that's what you're saying. You said human authenticity, humans at the center of everything. I think what you're saying is using AI as a tool, not to replace humans, but to make them more efficient, more capable, and to run faster.
Yeah. And as somebody who runs a big go-to-market engine, like, the things that I get excited about with AI, it's not the human cost savings. I get excited about with AI are actually, we have hundreds of thousands of customers, and many of those customers don't have access to a knowledgeable HubSpot expert on a daily basis to be able to figure out how to make their campaigns produce better results. That's just, it's impossible to have that many HubSpot experts available to that many customers with the level of hand-holding that they would need. And that's a problem AI can solve. The idea that AI can help more customers be successful with the product, that's extraordinarily exciting to me. So that's what I get more excited about.
Well, I would also imagine the center of truth is the CRM more than for HubSpot. I would imagine you guys are able, you have all the data coming in. So now you're just making the customer experience more powerful, better, more valuable.
That's right. We think of HubSpot not as a CRM now. We think of HubSpot as an agentic customer platform. And there's a couple things in there. Number one, we've thought of HubSpot as a customer platform for a long time, because it's not just a CRM. The CRM is really the system of record. This is where I store my contacts, my leads, my companies. It's structured objects and structured object associations or whatever. And that's fine. That has been technology that mostly was figured out, 20 plus years ago, obviously moved to the cloud and then whatnot.
Yeah.
But what HubSpot actually is it is also a system of content and a system of engagement. And that system of content and system of engagement are what get really exciting for AI, right? In truth, if you want an agentic go-to-market, you need to capture all of your customer interactions.
For sure.
You need those. You need those customers. The AI would need to know what a customer said on a call, said it in email, and what HubSpot has and has had for a long time is it tracks your emails. It brings the emails into the CRM. There's a note taker so that you can record your calls and you can bring those call recordings into the CRM, so that actually that platform has everything it needs to have the right context to be able to get AI outputs.
In a lot of ways, it sounds like you're saying AI will help people be better humans.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I definitely hope so.
Because if you have all that knowledge, you can track all that better, right? What is it?
Certainly in go-to-market. I don't know. It's hard for me to opine about AI in society, and I get excited about a lot of things about AI. I think AI
Okay.
for education could be transformative. I love the
Yeah.
idea of like personalized education, like how special that could be for everybody in the world and access to education. It feels transformative to medicine. It feels transformative to a lot of things. But my expertise is really in agentic go-to-market. And I happen to think that go-to-market reps, leaders, we all can produce way better outcomes
Yeah.
if we,
That's really what I was
have the
saying.
right, have the right platform with the right, I don't,
I didn't mean to zoom
like the
out
Royal
super
AI.
macro as like human, but what you're saying, like it makes that job just more efficient. Like I know more about my customer than, and then I can act on it as a human. Like you've said, like maybe it's your favorite, like picking up the phone is now becoming more valuable.
Yeah, somebody asked recently, they're like, what's the most effective go-to-market tactic in the world right now? And I was like, picking up the phone. Like, honestly, it's if you can
Because no
talk
one
to
does it.
somebody, yeah, it's pretty rare these days. So
Yeah. Yeah. I want to switch gears a little bit
yeah,
because I think we move. We said at the top of the show, there's an infinite content with AI and there's infinite code and all this stuff. How does someone, how do they stand out? Because you do an exceptional job, I think, on LinkedIn. I want to get into why you actually feel like you should be building in public or getting out there for your personal brand, but also representing HubSpot publicly. Why? First, let's start with the how. How do you think people should be like approaching thought leadership today if they want to be building their personal brands? And then I want to hear like why you choose to do it.
yeah. My advice to people, well, so there's strategy and tactics.
Yeah.
The strategy, in my opinion, is in truth, it comes back to what we said at the top, which is like in a world where content is infinite and channels are flooded, you being an authentic human being with opinions and on the thing that you have expertise on is one of the best ways to generate interest in your business and knowledge on your business so that people would consider purchasing you. I think that as a leader at a company, but everybody at a company, it's one of the best tactics they can do today. I think if you look at most of the Silicon Valley AI native startups, like their number one launch playbook is like founder-led growth. It's basically like the founders out there talking about it. Super good. So one thing is it's just a counter position to the world of AI slop.
Okay.
So that's one thing. I think a second thing though is interestingly, like the thing that has, I think, generated the most feedback for me on my LinkedIn engagement approach is actually how open I am engaging customers who post about frustrations with HubSpot. And we have a lot of customers now. And so we've got 300,000 customers and we try and create a great experience for everybody. But sometimes people don't have the best experience. They get frustrated with things. As always, like I think we have a ton of work to do at HubSpot to make our product and customer experience better. It's literally the thing we obsess about. And if you are a customer, I want you to know we all like literally every single day, that's what we work on is trying to get better. But I think that I get the most feedback from people saying it is great to see you personally engaging with a customer when they're frustrated. And I get a lot of positive feedback on that as well, because again, it comes back to the authenticity, which is like, you can post all you want as a founder about how amazing your stuff is and the unique insight that you have, which is great. But at the end of the day, people only buy it if they buy you as an authentic human. And I think that the ability to engage and have direct conversation on stuff, even when it's not positive stuff, is actually like a huge part of cultivating that sort of community.
Yeah. You're like lifting the veil, you're pulling back the curtain and saying, hey, this is the real thing. This is the real actions I'm taking. I'm doing the same thing that I say I'm doing. How does that work for you in practice though? Is it like, will you quote someone or take a photo, a screenshot rather and blur out their name and say, this person, I'm curious because do they,
like, how do we operate that?
Like you use it
when someone's frustrated? Yeah.
No. Not like how you handle the internal customer support, but how do you like use that for your posting?
It's actually just, I don't ever post about it, but I reply to them directly in public.
And okay. I see what you're saying.
Response garnishes a lot of views and engagement. And I just want to be super clear. I don't do it for the views and engagement. That has nothing to do with it, but it's just sharing an observation that like to be a really, I think, authentic social media poster as a business leader, part of that is it's not just like posting something and running away. It's being actually engaged and talking even when it's not positive.
Yeah. Well, it shows you're listening. It shows you actually care and that you're willing to take the time yourself to do it. And I'm sure internally from a leadership standpoint, it helps when the team sees that you care enough to do that. And I always think leading from the top works very well. And
I think HubSpotters care a lot about our customers. And I try and
you have to
definitely lead from the front on that.
Yeah.
I care about it. I care a lot. Yeah.
So important. And customers are the lifeblood of any business. And I think it all goes back to what we said earlier, leading with value. How does just a lot of people talk about posting, building their personal brand. Ultimately, they're doing it for attribution, like for sales. At the end of the day, that's what they're hoping for. Where the compounding effect is great, that they want it to lead to sales eventually. How is it? What are you seeing on the front lines with attribution? Because I think last week, more and more platforms with AI tools aren't sending the click back to the source. Like Ask YouTube just came out, so they'll be basically, you won't have to watch the full video.
Yeah, we're going from a world of direct attribution to indirect attribution, and I think as a former marketer, this is a pendulum that has swung many times over the years. Direct marketing is direct attribution, and traditional brand marketing is indirect attribution. And if you look at the shift in budget spend over different decades, the 2010s were probably the biggest shift away from brand back towards direct response marketing. The 90s was huge for direct response marketing with direct mail. It was like a period, there was a lot of work to figure out all the data back then so you could get an advantage. And so I do think these things just ping pong back and forth a little bit. And I think you need to look at your brand. I would consider your exec social a brand investment. And I wouldn't stress about the direct attribution on it. I would focus on the overall level of engagement on your brand, on your topic, and I would correlate that to actual interest. Like the interesting thing, Justin, is we have launched a product at HubSpot that is related to AEO, answer engine optimization.
Yep.
And basically it's how do you show up in LLMs, right?
I used this yesterday.
Did you?
Yes.
Did it work? Oh, that's awesome.
It was phenomenal.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah. I think it's an amazing tool.
The report was impressive, incredibly impressive. Yeah.
And I think what's cool about it is that it's hard to get as much direct response out of LLMs because fewer people are clicking. It used to be that a click was very top of funnel, and now a click is very bottom of funnel. But if you look at what is happening when people find you through an answer engine, so the number of people who come out the funnel is lower, but they convert at like 3x what a further up top of funnel website content form fill out. And so as any time marketing channels change and consumer behavior changes, a marketer, the thing you have to do is you just have to shift your thinking a little bit towards what does this channel actually mean about how people will engage with me? And like, how do I understand what the new funnel is? SEO is great because you get a lot of volume, but the conversion on it was very low. AEO is great because you will get a lot of intent. Volume's much lower. The funnel's a lot wider.
There's more. Yeah. I think the funnel has changed completely. I don't think it's the beautiful top mid.
Yeah, you could argue there is no funnel.
Basically, I think people behavior.
I think the customer journey is very, very messy now.
Yes. They're seeing it all over the place. They're going from channel to channel to channel. They might disappear. They might come back a week later.
The thing about the funnel is you can just easily draw it on a whiteboard, and it's a big part of my job.
It's nice, yeah. Yeah, but I don't.
No, the customer journey is totally nonlinear. And there's different frameworks for it. For a long time at HubSpot, we talked about the flywheel. We still talk about the flywheel a lot. Just the idea of attract, engage, and delight being a circle flywheel. And if you attract people, and you engage them the right way, and then you delight them, that'll actually lead to attracting even more people because of community, et cetera. We still talk about that a lot, and I still believe that is true. The tactics have changed a lot. But we also talk about other frameworks as well. And I think ultimately, a lot of our customers choose to go all in on HubSpot because our ability to track the touch points and do the engagements in a super messy customer journey is just That's what people want.
Yeah.
It's hard with that platform.
But I do think you're right. I think the AI has a click from AI, AEO, and an AI search is very, very bottom of the funnel. And I almost like it's a trusted people. I'm taking a lot of this. This is probably a lot of anecdotally. I don't have the data behind this, but I believe, and maybe you do, that AI is a trusted source of information. And when it recommends someone,
I think people trust it a lot more, which has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
But it puts a bigger onus on. Part of the reason that I do think it is important for companies to think about AEO is because how they show up in LLMs, I think, will be really trusted by a lot of consumers. And so it's important to deploy really clear strategies as a marketer to help shape that perception. There's only so far you can go. I think it's hard to get, it's like ultimately the thing about AEO that is interesting is it's not just about you posting your own branded content. That's a part of it. A lot more is social. A lot more is what your community says on Reddit. A lot more is mentions and referrals from other people. So I think it relies even more on third-party community and authority than SEO did.
For sure. Yeah. But it does feel like we're in the early days of what SEO was back in early 2000s. It feels like it's a new shift in the market. And for those who get in on early, they're going to have a lot of success with it.
Yeah.
How do you show up publicly all the time? We already talked about why you do it. How do you do it without it eating your week? Because that's the other thing I hear a lot of people talk about is I don't have time. I don't have time to be posting every day or a few times a week even.
Well, I mean, I think this is actually where AI can help. And AI helps me a lot on it. And I think like just putting AI slop out is a terrible idea. But some things that AI I think is great at. I think AI is really great at brainstorming ideas with you.
Okay.
And helping shape those ideas and be like, hey, here's a couple things that I think I have expertise on. Can you give me 20 different ideas? And then let's go back and forth and try and refine a couple of them. So I think that's one thing that works exceptionally well with AI. The other is I do think you can build a bit of a content engine for how to get posts that work really well. I think you can ask AI for a lot of feedback on your content. And you can ask it to do it through the lens of industry experts or domain experts that you respect. Like you could say, if you are like an entrepreneurship focused company and you want to put out entrepreneurship content, you can basically ask Claude to develop a skill that would give feedback like Gary V.
Sure.
Right. And then you can get Gary V's feedback on your content. And I think it's just so I think you can think of it that way. And so you can get good feedback. And then I think in theory, if you really get a good content engine going, it has the ability to also look at what has actually worked and not worked and refine and learn over time.
Yeah. I'm seeing the same things. AI is incredibly efficient or proficient at mining it, like to look at the analytics weekly to say, all right, what are you doing right, wrong? How can you improve the story? As long as the foundation is there. The other, it's very good at also looking at transcripts. So for those people who are recording every meeting or podcasting, it's
everything I talked about this week. Give me 10 ideas for content.
Yes, it's very good at mining for gold in those conversations, which is always helpful. Okay, so you're using AI. Do you write your own posts?
Yes, I tend to actually write the actual posts.
Okay,
and I think when it actually comes to the writing, like I think that's kind of where the authenticity comes in. And I don't think you have to write from scratch. You don't have to do like the blank cursor on a page. But I think like a lot of times for me, it is easier for me to rewrite than to write from scratch. I read something and I'm like, oh, I don't like that at all. But actually like that gives me the idea of how I'd want to write this.
So, to be able to react to something.
Iterative process. Yeah,
for sure. And you came up, I know you have an improv background as well with the yes and all that. How does that help you with the content or just as a marketer or a leader?
It helps me as a leader and a human a lot. I think improv, you brought up yes and. Number one, I think improv teaches you to laugh a lot. And I think that's actually one of the most important things is just to be able to laugh.
Yeah.
Even when the times are tough, everybody's just human, and laughing is good. So I think that's one thing. But I think
So
the
true.
principles of improv are very, very, very applicable to business and teamwork. Yes, and is basically the idea that if you're doing an improvised scene with somebody, the worst way to make the scene really, like the easiest way to make the scene really bad is to say no to somebody. You come in and
You
you're
just
like,
killed it right there.
You're like, hey, John, you ready to go for a swim in this pool? And I'm like, there's no pool there. This is a terrible scene. So what you do is you say, yeah, I'm ready to go for a swim in this pool, and I'm going to do the butterfly. And I think that is just a great concept in business, because especially when things are changing so fast, just saying no all the time is just not going to get you anywhere. It's better to encourage and say yes and build on it and collaboratively work towards stuff. So that's one thing. But another thing is just the idea of there's a principle in improv that you want to try and make your teammate funnier than you, which is like you should always be working to set up better jokes for your teammate to drop the punchline on. And I think that's a really cool concept as well.
That's huge.
Tied to the idea that it's not about, in improv scenes, it's very rare that an individual, it's not like an individual telling jokes. It's a team or multiple people creating, a scene, a comedy together. And so it's about how well the team does, not just about how well you do, which I think is important in business too.
In life. Yeah. That's such a great point. Yeah. All right. I want to respect your time. I know we're coming up at the hour. So we're going to jump into the rapid fire round.
Oh, okay.
I could have talked to you. I could talk to you for hours and hours, but
Justin, we'll do it. We'll hang out.
I know. All right. So rapid fire, we've got 3 questions and 1 closing question. So,
oh boy, I didn't prepare for these. I guess that's the point.
It is. You can pass if you want. You can pass.
Let's see. Let's see how I do. I don't know. Okay.
I think you'll know
the improv guy, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to do the rapid fire. It's like you're like go from improv into rapid fire, and I'm like, yikes, I don't know. Everybody's nervous. Everybody. Okay.
All right. What is the first thing you read every morning? We start today.
Slack.
Oh, okay. All right. Definitely. What's a brand whose reputation you quietly admire right now?
I really like Malbon Golf. I like golf, and I think this brand Malbon. I don't know is that how you say it? Malbon. I don't know. Malbon.
I'm gonna have to look them up.
I've never heard it spoken out loud, but I think they're just creating like really, really, really cool pieces and are choosing to be a little like counterculture within golf as golf goes really mainstream. And I think it's just a really cool brand, and they've built a lot of community and host a lot of events and stuff that I think is just really a good modern way to go to market. They're not a quiet brand though. So I quietly admire them because I don't talk about them, but they're not a quiet brand, I don't think.
Oh, got it. All right, I'll have to check them out. All right, what's the most overrated piece of marketing advice you've heard?
Maybe it's the 50% of my marketing dollars work. If I only knew which 50%, I'd be like, I think that one of the things that was really bad about the last decade of marketing was this hyper obsession with over attributing everything. Mm-hmm. And this idea that every single thing needs to be perfectly measured. The truth is, if you want breakout marketing, you have to be willing to do things that fail. And therefore, you can't, otherwise you're just running a safe marketing strategy, which just isn't going to work.
Which is not going to work, yeah.
It could work okay, maybe, but you have to be willing to do stuff. And if you exist in a marketing environment where every single dollar is endlessly scrutinized for ROI, then I think that leads to a lot of short-term and safe decision-making. Now, that said, that doesn't mean you shouldn't hold your marketers accountable to ROI. And it doesn't mean that for the channels that you can measure, you shouldn't measure. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that you need to look at it a little more holistically. You need to be a little bit more open to some sort of split between direct response and brand marketing. And for the brand stuff, don't overthink the attribution on it.
Yeah.
Know your customer, know your brand, have some unique insights about culture, and go for it.
Take low risk as well, maybe. Like you carve out a little budget for risk. It kind of goes to that point of you can never, like, perfect doesn't exist. Just keep building. All right. So we talked, this has been a fantastic show. We talked about so many things. I have one more question for you, John.
Okay.
We started in the pool, doing the work that no one sees and learning about the lessons you learned there. And then we've talked about brand as a foundation and how to use AI today, and the importance of building your compounding personal brand and brand as a moat maybe. But what does reputation mean to you today? Because the show is called Return on Reputation.
Yeah.
So I want to end there with everybody.
I don't know. I hope anybody who interacts with me, either at HubSpot or in our customer base, and even if I've never met them in our customer base, feels that I'm a person who is real and who cares. I think that's, probably the thing that I'm hoping to have the best return on when it comes to my reputation, because yeah, I am real and I do care.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Cool.
John, thanks so much
Thanks,
for the
Justin.
time.
Good to see you.
Appreciate
Take
it.
care.
Awesome to catch up. And yeah, thanks again.
Talk to you soon.
This is Return on Reputation.